Everyone, welcome. We are back with another webisode of I Am and More presents The Journey to More. If you've ever wondered, like, man, how do I get to the next level in my life? How do I get to the next level in my business? I have a secret for you today because most people do not know how to utilize this person in their life and in their business to not only grow their visibility but to grow their money. So you want to stay tuned. Everyone, I am attorney Jamila Moore, the legal expert, the speaker, the attorney, the business strategist that really makes sure you know what to do with your profits, your brand, and your business through trademarks, contracts, and copyrights. And so this is the only place, I believe, some of y'all believe it too, for the entrepreneurial mind and what it means to be a whole entrepreneur. We're not wealthy and imbalanced. We're not wealthy and unhappy. We're not wealthy and not taking care of our families. We do it all here at I Am and More. And so today, y'all, we have Lenitra King. She is an accomplished PR agency owner, seasoned senior publicist, and distinguished director of communications at Indicator PR. She has been recognized as one of U.S. Reporters Magazine's 30 under 30, y'all. We got some big stuff happening here. Alongside notable features like Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott. With nearly 2 decades of rich history in the public relations field, Lenitra has propelled clients into the spotlight of both local and national media, contributing to transformative campaigns from industry experts to corporate renowned giants like AT&T. Through her masterful strategies, Lenitra has orchestrated brand collaborations, managed red carpet events. I know some of y'all have been waiting to get on the red carpet too. Overseen award shows and orchestrated movie premieres for esteemed networks like MTV, TV One, and BET. She has secured impressive media features, including The Tamron Hall Show, The Drew Barrymore Show, Yahoo, Good Day LA, The Roland Martin Show, and so many more. Everyone, welcome Lenitra to the stage. Hi, Lenitra.
Hey, Jamila, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you really help, because someone could limit this to entrepreneurs, but you help individuals increase their visibility.
Yes, yes. So I'm Lenitra King. I'm a PR expert, and I have a 100% placement rate within 30 days of pitching mid-career to seasoned experts as industry trendsetters to get them TV, print, radio, online, and other press that converts to leads. And as you said, like at this point, I've been doing this for almost 20 years at this point. But the funny thing is, I began my career at 16 years old, and I didn't even know it. I did not even know it. So I've been working full time since I was 16. And I was working as a cashier at Sears and effortlessly repositioning their dreaded credit card into an attractive offer. So it's like, how many times have you been like to a retail store? So what's your favorite retail store?
Ooh, right now it's like Zara. I want a different
Zara.
one. It's Zara.
Okay, okay. So let's say you go to Zara, like in New York City or something like that. You know, when you go to your favorite retail store, they're going to ask you to sign up or apply for a credit card. And what's most people reaction? They're apprehensive and they don't really want to do it, you know? So I was able to, take this shredded credit card and turn it into attractive offer. And I was actually the top in my district, not only in my store or in my state, but in my district with signups. And a lot of people underestimated me because, I've always been kind of laid back. I was way more laid back then, but they were wrong, and I knew that if I could take this shredded credit card and do this, I could do so much more for private clients and experts who actually have compelling services to impact the world.
That is so amazing. And you take me back to my days at Macy's and
Oh,
selling that dreaded credit card.
yes, girl. So
Um,
know.
I do know, in trying to just make sure that it was positioned properly
That's
for
right.
people to understand the benefit of it. So you're helping me understand like the work that I do with business owners now is actually the work that I've been doing since a very young age. Because I started at Macy's when I was 16.
Well, same age. Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes. And so walk me through this. So someone is a new entrepreneur and they are trying to figure out their dollars, right? And they're
Mhm.
like, well, where do I start with trying to get visibility? Like, why is that even important to me?
Yeah, that is a great question. So, I like people to think of PR as well. Let me go back. So, I like to break it down just like I broke down that story about the credit card, right? I want people to understand that with PR, it's about presenting you in a way that makes you intriguing and interesting and make people want to do business with you or make people want to connect with you or interview you. And what I want people to see is like, look at PR as your dedicated communications department. So, communications is one of the bloodlines of our business, is really, really important. And media engagement and media relations is just one facet of that focuses on visibility. And visibility is important because it creates like that third party validation. So, like, for example, I can say all day that I'm good and I'm a great publicist and things like that. But when you hear it from a journalist or you hear it from, when I'm being interviewed on a TV show or a radio station, then that goes a lot further than me saying it myself. So it brings that credibility and that third party validation. But in addition to that, effective communications piece that you mentioned as well is very valuable to your business as far as communicating who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, your story, what makes you stand out than other people in your industry, what makes you relatable, how can you make that connection, with your target audience, and then with your message, how can you convey it in a way that they understand, in a way that they'll want to do business with you. So communications is very valuable and being very effective with that. And it's all about strategy. It is a business strategy and a strategic business tool for your business that fosters education, enthusiasm, excitement, and trust. And when people are passionate about what you do, they understand what you do and they're excited, then it significantly contributes to the success of your business.
Okay. That's really great. And one of the things that you kind of really leaned into is communications being the bloodline of your business.
Yes.
And so many times I talk to entrepreneurs about when you are a CEO, you can't just focus on your profits. You have to focus on the legal aspects because there are so many mistakes that entrepreneurs are making because of what they don't know legally,
Mm,
right? And so that's when I have to talk to them about their contracts, their trademarks, and their copyrights.
right,
And then there's the piece where you need to know marketing. There's the piece where you need to know sales. There's the piece where you need to know accounting. There's the piece where you need
right,
to know finance. There's the piece where you need to know communications and PR. And
right.
so when you're trying to do one without the others, you are really limiting your success.
That's very true. That's very true. Everything works together. I've had the most success with clients who have not only had PR, but they also have a marketing team, a social media team, a legal team. When all those things work together, that amplifies your success.
Yeah, yeah. So, Lenitra, we know you today as this bombshell that's been in the industry for years, making moves, but kind of bring us back because we deal with all levels of entrepreneurs. Bring us back when
Mhm.
you were first starting your business and how you overcame like that. I'm going to get my first few clients. Or was it different from you? You had clients, so then you said, oh, I need a business.
Wow, that's great. That's great. I'm going to take you back even further than that. So I told you about when I was 16 years old, right? So from corporate, I went to the nonprofit sector and I worked with nonprofits all the way from Malawi, Africa to right here in the US and helping them to increase their engagement in the number of volunteers for their programs. Then after that, I went to the agency side of things and I worked on big accounts like ESPN, helping them tap into their college market. And then I worked with TBS in helping them launch one of their new shows at the time, which was Franklin and Bash, and really creating excitement around the show launch. And then from there, I went to the entertainment side of things and I became a journalist myself. So I interviewed big names, the biggest names in music, like Beyonce, Rihanna, Mariah Carey. I actually had a viral article that I wrote about Mariah Carey. So I did that. And then from then, I started Indicator PR, which is my agency. So while I started that, though, I still was in the corporate world. So I was in the corporate world and then I was doing my business part time. And at the time, I want to say I had a few clients and I was mentorship was very important. That helped me at the beginning when I first started. Mentorship, and then also just letting people know what I do. Referrals was a way that I got business as well. And then I would go to these different events and I would see people who were doing their business full time while I was still doing it part time. And I would always ask them, like, how did you know when it was that time to leap out on faith and go full time with your business? And they always said the same thing. They were always like, you just know. And I'm like, okay, great. That helps me a lot. But it's so, so true. So at the beginning stages, I made sure that while I was working in my corporate job, I was still putting in time with my business part time. And like I said, I was getting clients through just being a mentorship program, getting mentored, and then just letting people know what I did. But I could feel that while I was in my corporate job at the time, I could feel like, okay, Lord, this is not fulfilling me. I would come to work, just barely being able to make it to the end of the day. I mean, it was at to a point where I was leaving early all the time. It was just very mentally draining for me because, I knew that this wasn't exactly what God had called me to do, but I know it was preparing me for what God called me to do. So one night, I went to a networking event and just listening to what everyone was saying. And so what ended up happening is that my corporate job was closing down and I was going to, but they gave me the opportunity to work from home. So I was going to do that, just work from home. But when I was at that networking event, I felt God drop it in my spirit and say, it's time. It's time. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to tell my director that, I don't want to work from home again. I'm just going to go and fulfill, my passion, what God has called me to do. And I'm just thinking, man, they're going to try to get me to stay here. And so I go to the director, let him know what was going on. And he was like, you know what? He was like, your time here, you took advantage of everything you could take advantage of. You were in HR, you were a supervisor, you did this, you did that. You really, took advantage of your time here. And I think you're right. I think this is your time. And I was like, wow, like that was further confirmation that I was making the right decision. So from there, when I went full time, I focused on networking a lot. So I went to different networking events. I did my own event to launch, um, the full time of my business. And then I just took it from there.
Wow, wow, wow. There's so much for us to lean into here because
Yeah.
one, we're talking about how to skyrocket our visibility and wealth, right? And
Mhm.
so, one of the things that you're teaching us, there came a moment because you are a woman of faith, and many of the people here are people of faith, that you had to lean in to God and what He wanted for your life
Mhm.
because it was bigger than just wanting to chase your passions, just wanting to chase your purpose. You had to lean into the timing of it.
Yes, 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 yes.
And then, okay, having all of the mentors and everyone saying you just know and
Mhm.
and then you being postured in position to be able to hear that it's time. And
Mm,
then God loving you so much to send you a word to say it's time, which
yeah.
is just how he said it. And so, what I want the listeners to kind of really lean into there is when you are chasing more, when you are chasing purpose, there is going to be a time in life where you're going to have to pause to see if God wants you to pivot.
Mm,
Whether that pivot is into full-time entrepreneurship, maybe it is into part-time entrepreneurship, or maybe it is to a different position at a different company. But if you're not living that postured position life where you can pause and hear, you might miss that moment to pivot. And so we just thank you for that key and helping us really lean into that as part of your story. So now you know it's time, and I've done it. So it's the scariest thing in the world. We're like, all right, where clients coming from? So you
mhm.
say you lean into networking. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, yes. So I leaned into networking. And of course, every day I was walking by faith. Every day I was walking by faith. So I leaned into networking and attended, different networking events in my area. And then I also committed a lot of time to going live and interviewing other entrepreneurs. So I would go live and, for example, like it was October of that year, and October was National Self Promotion Month. So I took that month and I used it as a publicity tool, basically. So I gave tips on how different business owners could promote themselves, and then I highlighted different business owners that I admired, and I also interviewed them as well. And in doing that, and leveraging that, that made what I was talking about timely and relevant. And it also spread the word about what I do. And that's a huge part of PR, in making sure that your message is centered around being able to be positioned as timely, relevant. Um, and that's what I did. That's what I did. And then I also planned an event. So, one thing I tell business owners as well, a lot of people are doing businesses, but they haven't like officially announced it. They've just kind of been doing their thing on the side, but they haven't like officially announced it. And that's one of the things that I would recommend. You could have been in business for 5 years, but you haven't, officially announced it. That's a good tactic and tool to use too. Like whenever your anniversary comes up or something like that, you could do a press release on your business and celebrating your anniversary, and you can do something really cool to celebrate, and that's a good way to generate some exposure around your business and what you do.
You remind me of DJ Khaled, like, I got the keys, the keys, the keys.
That's so funny.
Yeah, like you have a lot of keys that most entrepreneurs don't even know to use. And one thing that, I try and caution the business owners that come through me, either for legal support or business support, is really leaning into more than just offers. Like a business is more than just selling things. A business is more than just making money. And you are here as like that in face reminder of like, actually, I have to think about so many different things if I'm going to do business well and I'm going to survive that 5 year mark.
Mm,
One of the things that you said earlier on, I want to kind of go back to because I think it's important. You mentioned that you get results within 30 days.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
so, talk to us about how I know you can't share your process and things of that nature, but how do you take someone from a no one to press?
That's a great question. So, well, first, you definitely need to have the fundamentals in place. So, in order for me to be able to pitch you and land something within 30 days of pitching you, you have to be positioned for that press. So, there's certain things that you need to have in place first. So, certain things like photos, right? I cannot tell you how many times I have seen photos and I'm like, we cannot use these photos. You know, there's photos where you may not have had a photo shoot in years, and I can tell because the quality of the photo. People are using selfies. Never, ever, ever, ever use a selfie as a headshot. Period. Selfies should only be for social media or sharing with your friends. Um, what else have I seen? I've seen people who have taken their photos and put it on like a fake background. Like, you know, your photos are very important because this is the photos that we're going to use when we're pitching you. It's the photos that the journalists are going to use on their, flyers or, for B-roll and things like that. So, definitely you want to make sure that you have done a photo shoot recently. And I would say within the year. It used to be, I used to say every 2 to 3 years, but honestly, things are evolving, and I would advise doing a photo shoot at least every year. So make sure you have a photo shoot where there should be a strategy behind the photo shoot. It shouldn't just be random pictures just to take pretty pictures. It should be photos that are conveying your brand personality and conveying who you want to represent and what you want to be known as. So that's one thing. You want to make sure that you have some type of one sheeter. So this is going to be something that not explains, but lists like your credibility. So like your awards, your accolades, your education, any key points about you that make you different from others in your industry, and have a brief bio. Those are some of the key things. And then also, you need to know what topics you can talk about to the media. Can you, how can you use your expertise, right? So I need someone who's already in that mindset and they know what they can talk about and they know that it's not all about them. So with the press, it's not about you, it's about you sharing things with their audience, right? And then by doing that and showing your expertise, at the end, you can give a call to action and things like that. But you have to have a certain mindset. So if you have all these different things in place, then yes, I'll be able to, get your feature within 30 days. But it's okay if you're not there yet. If you're not there yet, I help get you there with a different program, and then we begin pitching you. So with you having those fundamentals in place, and then with my strategies of knowing like how to position you, what to tie you into to make you relevant and timely, and also with my contacts and my relationships and connections, one of the things that I mentioned when I went full time, I spent a lot of time building relationships and connections, and that's really the key to that is the relationships, connections, and contacts. So
Relationships, connections, and contacts. I think that's the key to PR, the key to your business, so much
yeah,
more. The key to really growing
absolutely.
in life. And so one of the things that you kind of outlined for folks is like you're a one-stop shop if you want to increase your visibility, which will then increase your wealth. And so someone may be saying, well, I don't have any of that. You're like, well, I have a starter program for you.
Yes, that's right.
Someone may be saying, well, I only have these pictures. Well, I'm going to give you the strategy to make sure you're positioned to do these things well. And I think, that's the thing that I want listeners to kind of lean into, because sometimes I feel like maybe in the coaching side of my business, I'm counseling entrepreneurs and I'm saying, okay, let's get to the root of why this is not working.
Mhm.
And sometimes, people like, well, I'm posting on social media. You're literally saying, like, yes, we can post, but we have to post the right visuals
Mhm. Yes,
with the right message to
that's right.
the right people. And so if we don't learn the basics of positioning, then we won't get the sales and things that we actually need, which is really, really key. And
Mhm.
so you've worked with some really, 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 really huge names, but tell me about like a success story from like a smaller name that no one knew, and how you were able to transform not only their life but their business.
Absolutely. So I can give you a specific example about an attorney that I'm working with right now. And I think a huge part of what makes the work that we do at my agency so successful is that we are all about strategy. Strategy is such a huge component and can just make the difference. And also, I'm all about doing things the right way, not shortcuts. I make sure that we do the research that we need. We know how to position you, all those things like that. So with this attorney, she helps fight against discrimination and harassment. So we wanted to say, okay, well, let's do our research and let's see what areas have the highest number of cases of harassment and discrimination. And we pitched her in those areas. And one of those areas was the city of her alma mater. So we were very strategic. And not only is this a city where they have the highest number of cases of discrimination and harassment, but she also has a connection to this city here. And by us being strategic and pitching her in this area, specifically one of the TV placements that we got for her was in that area. And after she was done with that interview, she started getting leads. Why did she start getting leads? Because we were very strategic about it. And so let's say like within the first 3 months of us pitching her, we had close to 30 features. And I know it's more, now, but I say that to say, so now not only did she start getting leads, but when she started going into different rooms, everybody would, be calling her celebrity and things like that. And it really skyrocketed her perception, her personal brand, and her personal network. So now, because she's, viewed in this different light, her value instantly skyrockets, which she can use as, a strategy, when it comes to when she's on sales calls or whatever the case may be. Now, how they, what's that saying they used to say, yesterday's price is not today's price. So it's kind of like that type of thing. So it really increased like her brand network. So that's an example. I also have another example of a relationship expert. So with her, she had been very successful, but she took a long hiatus. And so now we had to reintroduce her again and make her relevant and introduce her with a more refined and refreshed brand. And we've been able to get her like several different TV placements, even national TV placements. And because of that, at the end of her campaign, she ended up getting like 283 impressions. And so, what impressions means is basically the outlets that we got her featured on is basically like the number of visitors that they get to their website or the number of viewers that they get on their station, combined with like engagement and some other numbers. So she had 283 million impressions, means that she has gotten in front of more and more people who know about what they do and about what she does. And I tell people all the time with press, you're getting in front of more people that gives you more access to people that you can sell to. And this ended up, the words out of her mouth ended up increasing her profit margins by 100%. So those are just two examples of, the success that you can really achieve with strategic PR.
Not just PR.
Strategic PR. Yes, that's right. That's the key word.
And you've only just shared two success stories. And luckily for me, I've been able to watch what you've done with the attorney and just to see kind of the transformation. And you talked a lot about the business transformations, but I don't want to skip over the fact that what you're doing is also transforming their life, their mindset, and their own self-confidence.
Yes.
Leaned into that self-perception. And so when folks are coming into your business and they're working with you, they are, and I'm strategic about who I bring onto this platform for folks, right?
Right.
They are getting a whole transformation because one, you have strategy that's downloaded from God. Two, you are a faith-based person that cares about them and you're not all about the dollars. And three, you have the expertise to actually know what it is that you're doing. And so I just wanted to highlight that because it is rare that you meet these types of business owners.
Thank you for that, because that's very important for me. I think one thing outside of strategy that, makes me different is I truly do care about in my clients. It's not just about the business relationship for me, but I'm someone who is very authentic, um, trustworthy, and who really cares about my clients and really, the purpose for me in doing what I do is not about getting you all these features and stuff. It's not about that for me. Like I know that God has put me on the earth and the gifts and talents that he's blessed me with in his communication. And my goal in that is bringing awareness to these experts who do provide some type of transformation so that people, who need that specific transformation can find them, and that, these experts, that they can make the impact that they were predestined to make in the world. So that's really what it's about for me.
Mm-mm. So you're a purpose helper through the lens of PR. And, I just love the alignment because it's about that for me as well, especially when I think about the possibilities that open when people go into the space of entrepreneurship. And we
Mhm.
know that Black women are the fastest rising entrepreneurs on the
That's
planet, right? And so for me, I'm like, okay, when I go to your website, is your website in legal compliance? Most of the time, not. Do you actually own a lot of the wealth that comes out of your mind? I don't know why. I do know why. It's God. I've really, 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 really been leaning into that in a real way
mhm.
because most people don't understand it. Like their $1 million, they probably gave away because they just counted it off as a thought.
Mhm.
And so doing the work to get people to really understand the weight of, having legal support, the weight of having PR support is so important. So tell me, what would you say to an entrepreneur or someone who's even aspiring to be an entrepreneur saying like, I think it'll be a waste of money. Like I, no one's going to feature me. I know that.
That's a great question. So it all starts with mindset, right? So our beliefs translate into our thoughts, and our thoughts translate into our actions. So if you believe nobody's going to feature you, then maybe nobody will feature you because you don't have the belief. So it starts there. And I'm very, very aware that um I'm not for everyone and everyone isn't for me. So you have to have that belief system. And so that's the first things first. After that, every I really cringe when people say, "Well, I just don't have a story." You do have a story. You do have a story. And what a PR expert is going to do is going to help you realize that story and help you position that story as well. So you have to believe you do have a story. It's about positioning that story, and that's what a PR expert is going to help you with. And it's not going to be a waste of your time. You will be so amazed at what you can accomplish. Like I have journalists in my inbox looking for experts. So there are people out here who can feature you. And one thing I want to say too is that if you're in if you want to get PR for the vanity of all, just because you want to feel like a celebrity, you don't have the right intentions. Like when you have the right intentions, then you can get so much further than if you don't have the right intentions. The right intentions is saying, okay, this is my mission. This is what I'm trying to achieve. This is how I want to impact the world. And I want to get out on these platforms so I can really bring light to what my mission is so I can really help those who need to be helped and serve those who I'm called to serve. That's the mindset that you need to have. And with that mindset and with belief system and having, a strategic PR partner like me by your side, listen, the sky is the limit. sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit. It kind of makes me lean into like the fact of like I am and more.
Mm,
Um, I really leaned into one day I was reading the Bible and I was like, God, why did you say sending them to I am? Like, who is
mhm.
I am? And I was like, what does that mean? And he was like, it meant that I will be whoever I needed to be in the moment I needed to be for who I needed to
Yes.
be it for.
Yes.
And so that's really what you are embodying right now when you're talking about really breaking down that mindset, really
Mhm.
breaking down that belief system. Because if we come from the great I am and we are made in his
Listen, you better
image,
say it. You better
his
say it.
likeness, right? Then we need
Mhm.
to understand that with the right mindset, with the right faith, with the right strength of God, we can go into these places and show up in an I am way, right?
That's right.
Being able to be who we need to be, how we need to be to do the things that we're supposed to do, and having that strategic partner, that strategic leadership from you and from people like me from the business and legal side is key
Mhm.
for people seeking long-term success. And so it's just like you said, this isn't for the folks who maybe want to sell a few things. This is for purpose driven entrepreneurs on a mission and on an assignment.
Yes, and you said something key too. Let me just go back to that long-term success, right? And we talked about timing before. So not only do you need to have, the belief system that you can and that you are, but also, and then what did I say? The belief system, your story, realizing your story, positioning your story, having a strategic PR partner, listening and trusting your strategic PR partner, but then also it's the timing. So, when we think about business plans, right? We think about, 1, 3, 5, 10-year business plans. But when it comes to PR, people don't think that way. You need a 1, 3, 5, 10-year PR plan. So there's certain goals that we'll have for the first year, or for 6 months, for 1 year, for 3 years, for 5 years. But it is all about timing. It is not an overnight success story. Yes, I do get clients featured in 30 days, but there's different goals that you may have that we need a strategy that is aligned with certain timing. So, that timing piece and looking toward long term success is very important too. So, I just wanted to make sure I touched on that as well.
That's so good. That's so good. You know, I would keep you here all day just trying to
I
talk
know, girl, we can just go on and on
about.
with another conversation.
But any final thoughts on the topic? Anything that you want to say to the audience around, like, listen, get out here, make sure you have the right visibility the right way, and, do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I can go on and on and on about that, but I definitely will say, definitely make sure you have those fundamentals like I was saying, the photos, the press materials like your one sheeter. And even if you don't have the one sheeter, right? Make sure you get the write down the elements that are needed so when you hire a PR expert, you already have that and all we have to do is format it and make it what it needs to be. Also, make sure that you are showing your thought leadership, right? So, a huge part of PR is perception, but also thought leadership. And when I say thought leadership, is really showing your expertise and that you are the expert. And there's a few different ways that you can do that. You can actually go live on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and give tips whenever you're posting on social media in general. Make sure to have strong call to actions. Also, make sure to show your authenticity. A big thing in PR is positioning you in a way that you connect with your audience and they really connect. There's actually a statistic that shows people rather do business with a person than a company. Like they want to get to know you as a person. So, like for me in my social media posts, you get to know me as a person because I'm a person of faith. I love to encourage, I love to inspire, I love to motivate. And my posts have some type of, faith based encouragement, inspiration. So make sure that, whenever you're out there and you're showing up, that you're showing up authentic. And also, another thing that you can actually do is collaborate with other experts. You can actually share each other's audience when you collaborate and go live together. You can also make sure that you do social listening as well when you're on social media. When people are commenting on your post, make sure that you comment on their post. Make sure that you're engaging and you're interacting. So there's so many different things that I could say. And also, if you're an expert, like write down, make a running list of different topics that you can talk about, different tips that you can talk about. So when you hire a PR expert, we're ready to go with the content and we just position you. So there's a number of different things that you can do. And definitely follow me on social media, and I provide tips all the time. So definitely follow me on social media. I believe that, Jamila, you have it down here what my social media is. So follow me, connect with me, say hey to me. And I would love to connect and definitely just stay in touch for tips and different information that I provide.
It's so great. And we just thank you for your wealth of knowledge and just really, because, I got like kind of a spanking too with some of the things you were saying because of, my little disobedience on some things. But the reality is we need these reality checks from the different areas in our business to make sure that we are going to be here for the long haul to make the greatest level of impact. And so I'm here to, spank some folks on the legal side and the business side. If you don't own a trademark, if you don't own a copyright, but you are doing business, you don't own your business. And I don't want you to fall victim to theft or even being stopped from using your business. And so it's so, so, so important, even when it comes down to the contracts in your business and how you do business, that also plays into your brand. It's been great, y'all. When you
Thank you
catch
so much.
this, you are
Thank you
welcome.
so much for having me, Jamila. It was such a great time. Like you said, we can just talk forever. So much for having me.
You are welcome. You are welcome. I thank you for coming. For those of you all who have been asking about these incredible sweatshirts, you can go online right now to iamandmore.com/shop and you will be able to get a 25% discount on these sweatshirts. I know it's getting cold and I'm ready to ship them out to you. Everyone have an amazing end of your week and I will see you soon.